your Carondelet varsity basketball team.
I know it's been sort of a long event. I just have a few words to share. I got that little gab from my dad when he was inducted across the street. But he actually didn't talk that long. Hi, I'm Lexi Tammany. I'm one of the assistant coaches from the team. This is this weird experience because like Julia and Kelly, and Mary Claire, they were all here when I was here as a student, and it's just, whoa, it's weird. I wanted to share some thoughts on this epic season that we had 20 years ago, but before I begin talking about some of the details of the season, I'd like to comment on what this group of women mean to the Carondelet Basketball Program's foundation. The amazing success of this program would never have been possible without the bar being set incredibly high by this group of women, individually and collectively. The leadership and intelligence of Lauren Russi, the work ethic of Haley Wheeler and Emily St. Jean and Allison Daly, the self-belief and quiet confidence of Allie Russi, the competitiveness and swagger of Ashley Ford, the willingness to be quiet contributors of Megan Poley, Megan McLafferty, and Ashley Aliotti, the youthful exuberance of Monica Powers and Natalia Delbeni, and of course the star power of Jane Appel. I knew early in that season that she would be the best basketball player I would ever have the opportunity to be around, and one of the best humans. I choose the word star specifically because sometimes I felt like we were just space rocks just orbiting this bright celestial being that was just sort of pulling all of us in and along for the ride. And her mix of talent and competitiveness and unselfishness was absolutely awe-inspiring. Then you had the assistant coaches. You had Elgin, a kind and big-hearted man who did double duty as frosh coach. That's God's work. And yes, a bossy 27-year-old alum that thought she knew everything, me, who now knows better. And then now I want to take a moment to honor the leader of this accomplished bunch, Coach Margaret, who coached me, and Mary Claire. And Kelly, and a whole bunch of people in here. The quiet, humble, hard-working, non-attention seeking, and often overlooked head coach, who is letting me do all the talking again. I do. She's a head coach who leads by example, and I'll come back to that. She took this program that was just above average and turned it into a powerhouse. And she did it by grinding day in and day out, and in the process teaching young women about hard work, selflessness, commitment to a goal, and being part of a team. All the things that she personally embodies. She leads by example. You could not ask for a better representative for Carondelet and what high school athletics should be about. She always did it the right way and was and is a consummate teacher and role model. And I'm happy to be back in the gym working with her again at Alumnae. Yeah. In my not so humble opinion, I personally believe she should be the first coach to be inducted into this prestigious Hall of Fame. The journey that this team went on. In my opinion, it began at the end of the previous season. We had finally knocked off Amador Valley for the NCS title and went to NorCal's riding high, but ended the season with a devastating loss in the De La Salle gym, where we were ahead by double digits in the fourth quarter. It was a really painful loss filled with a lot of regret from every player and coach. It was a hard way to end the high school careers of the 4 seniors that were on that particular team. And I think the returners internalized that, not wanting to repeat it, especially our lone returning senior, Lauren Russi, who also became our team captain. That loss fueled an off-season that required immense commitment and sacrifice by this group of women. We worked them hard, all the time. But these girls just grinded and always showed up and gave everything they had. Like their head coach, who led by example. Some of the highlights of that 30-3 season, let me repeat that, 30-3, We won the West Coast Jamboree, traveled to the Nike Tournament of Champions in Arizona, and beat teams from all over the Western states. After going undefeated in league, we beat Eureka in the NCS finals at the Oakland Coliseum and got back to NorCal's where we beat Aragon and Foothill. Thankfully coming away in one piece, where I think the plan for both teams was just to beat the crap out of poor Jane. I think they had Foothill had 5 players foul out alone just on fouls on Jane. I remember calling her mom after the game and asking if her daughter had a working left eyeball because last I saw her, it looked like it was missing. She looked like she had been in an MMA cage fight. Turns out that the blondie from the all-girls school is pretty tough. In the NorCal finals, we were the underdogs to the Arch Middy machine. Well, we did more than hold our own against them. We beat them by 23 and held them to only 10 points in the second half. 3 field goals and some free throws, and they were supposedly one of the best teams in the state. And that score and defensive effort actually brings me to talk about another aspect that made this team really stand out. This team was made up of really intelligent young women, and we made so few mistakes because of it. We were able to function like a well-oiled machine. The coaching staff would scout like a college staff, and we'd give these 14, 15, 16-year-old kids these scouting reports, and they would have them memorized like their lives depended on it. In the postseason, our role players would memorize an opponent's entire offensive and defensive system just to help the team practice the next day. And they probably didn't realize the extent of it at the time, but that type of preparation was crucial to the success of this team. We wouldn't be here tonight without their contributions. The other thing that really stood out about this group was the leadership provided by Lauren Ressi. She was the perfect leader for that particular year with all these young players. I remember writing her letter of recommendation for college and needing them. It was during lunchtime when I was teaching, and I broke down in tears thinking about it. It was so special. She helped the girls maintain laser focus on what mattered. She was mature and wise beyond her years. We used to joke that Lauren was like a mama duck with all of her little ducklings, just trying to keep them in check from scurrying off into oncoming traffic. She was the consummate older sibling of 4. One of my other lasting memories of Lauren's leadership was on the bus ride to Arco for the state championship game. We were gonna have TVs in the fancy chartered bus, and you could play a movie. So we told Lauren to bring a movie to set the mood for the ride. So I was expecting some pump up movie to really emotionally jack up the kids. She brought Newsies. Newsies, which is basically a PG musical for kids, and they knew all the words, and they sang those stupid songs all the way to the biggest game of their young lives. And I'm looking at Margaret like, what is going on? Well, Lauren knew best, and that's exactly what this young team needed. They needed their nerves quelled, and that must have done the trick. So we beat Troy 48-41 in the California State Championship game. The last few moments of that game were a combination of euphoria, disbelief, relief. So blessed to have been a part of it. So I guess I'd like to leave the podium tonight with this thought. This is a spectacularly driven, smart, and accomplished group of women. It's fitting they would be honored tonight for their amazing accomplishments on the basketball court 20 years ago. But I'm even more excited to see what lies ahead for them. Because when it's all said and done, every one of these women will have made a positive impact on the world around them, I know. Just like their head coach, who leads by example. The ethos of this team lived on long after the end of that magical season. They are the embodiment of the Carondelet mission to foster the development of women of heart, faith, and courage. And we honor all of them tonight, and I could not be prouder to be an alum. Thank you.
And probably most importantly, our chemistry. So I'll talk a little bit about our drive. And I'll start by just acknowledging it is amazing the things parents keep. And lucky for me, my parents have managed to kind of keep it all. And a couple of years ago, I was given a plastic container called high school things. And in it was my senior year basketball binder with a piece of paper outlining a visualization exercise we did at the beginning of that season. And I actually think Lexi led that exercise. The point of the exercise was to visualize where we wanted to be at the end of our journey together that season. And every single one of us had the same destination in mind: state champions. The loss to Vacaville, as Lexi alluded to, it stung. And we were willing to do whatever it took to win state. And that included a lot of commitment, as Lexi acknowledged earlier. It included track workouts in the evenings, lifting together at that tiny gym in Pleasant Hill, double days during the summer, followed by summer league games in an unair-conditioned foothill gym. It included sacrificing trips and showing up for workouts on holidays.
We had well-prepared scouting reports. I thought this was scouting reports taped together. And our coaches were supervising workouts throughout the summer and evenings, mornings, holidays, you name it, they were in the gym. I have to give a special shout out to Coach Frank Tammany, who brought out every contraption that he made under the sun to make us better prepare for certain teams or opposing players. This came down to defensive slide sticks, pool noodles that he put under our armpits to keep our arms up, and bright orange wristbands to help guards see how to learn how to throw a lob pass. I still remember who can throw the good ones. And while we players put in the physical work, it was our coaches who guided us on the journey and held us accountable to the things we needed to do to become champions.
Finally and importantly, I think a lot of our success that year boiled down to chemistry. You see it all the time in sports, and perhaps more often in life. You either have it or you don't. Chemistry is a really hard thing to replicate. This team, this group of friends, we had it. And as cliche as the statement is, there was a real we versus me mentality on that team. There wasn't a whole lot of ego, and it was a team that was always willing to sacrifice individual stats for the stat that mattered most: winning. Each one of us had an important role to play that season. Every member of this team contributed greatly to its success, and often in ways that didn't show up on the highlight reel. The final thing I'll say with respect to chemistry is that our team really did have fun together, both on and off the court. Whether it be at pasta feeds before games, 7-Eleven runs before practice, or late night Fenton trips after games. And if you're picking up on a theme, you're right too. This is a team that certainly loved its snacks. We really enjoyed spending time together. And while I personally probably haven't done a great job of staying in touch with all of you, I consider you all to be good friends, and I could not be more proud to share this wonderful recognition with this group of people. There aren't too many things in life that you get to be a part of where you can look back and think, wow, what an accomplishment. We did something really big, really hard, and really cool, and we did it together, and that's really special.
So we want to conclude with a round of thank yous, again on behalf of our entire team. First of all, thank you to Carondelet for the awesome recognition and support you gave to our team during the 04 season. Especially Sister Eleanor and Sister James for attending so many of our games and being advocates for Carondelet's women's sports. A huge, huge, huge thank you to our parents. You were Uber drivers before Uber was a thing. You definitely kept us well fed. And we can't thank you enough for driving us to games, scouting opposing teams, and being our biggest fans. Thank you again to Margaret, Lexi, and Elgin for challenging us, pushing us, and enabling us to shine. And a final thank you to our teammates. Together, we did something that was incredibly special, and it was so fun to do it with you all.
Emily St. Jean Dupin. Monica Powers. Megan Foley.
Allison Daly Olson.
Ashley Ford.
Megan McLafferty.
Lauren Russie Dillard.
Jane Appel Marinelli.
Allison Russie Dana. Haley Wheeler, and I know her parents are in the house. Come on up.
And last but not least, Natalia Delbeni.